Service ran long, of course, so that's the reason we're delayed a little bit. I have known Stanislav and Diana for around 10 years. Some of you may know a little something about them because they've been here before. They got their doctorates in music at the UW Madison. But some things happened before that, and I'll share just a little bit of that real quickly. If you were in the service, you heard Pastor Mark say that one of them, Diana, was born in Russia. Stanislava was born in Ukraine. And when they were in their teens, their families moved to Israel. They had the opportunity to study with a famous piano duo. And one thing that really surprised me, one of the early performances they did when they were here in Madison, it was easy to schedule them. I had them doing a school program. I'm trying to recall, was it in Reedsburg? Lodi, maybe it was Lodi. And we got chatting before some of the students got in. And they said, you probably don't know this about him, but when we were in school in Israel, we didn't like each other. We didn't like each other at all. And one of our professors said, I like your style. I think you need to get together. And they resisted, but in no time decided they work very well together. That they do. Now today, Diana is a professor at the University of Minnesota in Duluth, which is a 6-hour drive from here. And Stanislava, if you take a look at the back of the program, I've got pretty much their bio here. She is Director of Music Education at Holy Family Conservatory of Music in Manitowoc. So you ask, well, how is it? Do they use Zoom calls to rehearse? No, they don't. They actually get together. So one weekend, Diana drives to Manitowoc so they can rehearse or play new pieces on Saturday and Sunday. And then next weekend, Stanislava goes to Duluth so they can practice on Saturday and Sunday. That's quite a commitment to what they do marvelously. So it's my pleasure to introduce the Varshavski-Shapiro piano duo. And they'll tell you a little something about the program they're going to play. It varies a little bit from the program that's printed, but I thought you might like to have what they played during the service today. And as I indicated in the handout, they enjoy visiting with people afterward, so they look forward to chatting after the performance.
So I was told to use mic. I don't know if it's working. Yeah. So if you have program, you can forget what's written there. We'll play something else. But you can still read the bio. So we decided that since we already played a lot of Schubert in the morning, we'll play something else just so that you get a taste of a different composer. And the piece that we're going to start our mini performance has very interesting story behind it. So we'll play Johannes Brahms' variations on Schumann's subject. And the story is very interesting. So in around 1851, Schumann was confined or closed in the psychiatric facility with now what's called bipolar disorder. So he had assumed different personalities, and at that time the treatment was you just were closed in the hospital. So Clara Schumann, Schumann's wife, and family friend Johannes Brahms visited Schumann quite often. And every time they visited Schumann, Schumann said, Johannes, I just composed my best melody ever. I'm going to use it in my next symphony. And week after week, he was so excited. But when Brahms took a look at this melody week after week, it was the same melody. It's like he has this obsessive idea that he didn't realize it's exactly the same music. So Johannes Brahms was indebted by his flourishing compositional career to Schumann, because 10 years prior to that, Schumann wrote a big article in the music journal saying about Brahms, this is the next person to watch. So that's how Brahms' career started. So when Schumann died in 1856, Brahms decided to make a sweet tribute to his mentor and older friend. So he took the melody that Schumann was handling him week after week as the best melody and composed a set of variations. So in the beginning, you will hear this melody of Schumann in a very light harmonic arrangements by Brahms. And then Brahms is going to do all kind of different tricks with that melody, put it in different keys, subjected to different type of ornaments and developments. But one of the variations towards the end is going to have a character of the funeral march, because it's in the end of the day he wrote this piece to commemorate his friend. And in the very end, what you're going to hear, the first melody, the initial version of the melody is going to come back, but this time around it's not going to be bright and beautiful. It's going to be distorted a little bit with various sad dissonances, because in the end of the day, that's a piece to send off his mentor. So Brahms' variations on Schumann's subject. And then we'll finish with two pieces that are just a little happy, I guess, even though there is some tragic story. So those are pieces by Valery Gavrilin, who is Soviet-Russian composer. In 1986, he won the commission from the government to compose a music for what's called televised ballet. So the idea is that, because Russia or Soviet Union was a huge country, so the idea is that not every village can get and see real performances on the city stage in person, right? So the idea is to film the ballet with the music and then translate it on the first government channels. So if you have a TV, you have an access. And there is nothing wrong with that idea. So the story that was taken for the ballet is by famous Russian short story writer that is known in the United States, Anton Chekhov. And the story is kind of tragic, but every story has a lesson to be learned, right? So the story is about a young woman, so it's her family, so her mother died and her dad became a drunk. And so this family is small, it's like a dad, a girl who is 18, and a younger brother. And then the family is not able to support themselves economically because dad is not able to work, he's always drunk. So he decides that in order to improve the family economic hardship, the best way and the easiest way to do it is just to agree to marry her daughter to a much richer older man. So he pretty much sells his daughter for some advances. And then if it would be the end of the story, it would be quite trivial. It happens, right? But then the husband, the new husband, realized that he can make much bigger career if he, in his turn, offers his young wife to his higher up. And then he did it, and he got a new medal, new rank. But then it would be the end of the story. It would be trivial, would not be tragic. But then something else happened. Then the young girl, young woman already, realized that she doesn't need no husband, no dad to decide her future. She can get what she wants if she just uses her own charms, like female charms. And this is the end of the story. The end of the story that she dances it away and doesn't even see her family. She doesn't pay attention. She's too busy to make life. This is what story is about. So the ballet became an instant smash. So it won a lot of prizes in Soviet Union as well as like outside in Europe and Italy specifically in 1986. And then as many composers, Gavrilin was also pianist. He was also interested in promoting his music. Like, you know, every composer probably really want the music to be heard and to be played. So he transcribed himself a number of most famous musical numbers into pieces for one piano, four hands. Because why? You can publish the music, you can send it to even the most remote villages, and if people know how to play piano, you can play the music, and it means music is alive. You don't need to wait for the big production, right? So obviously, because the music was originally from ballet, all of those numbers are dances. So we'll play just two waltz that we play during the service. So the waltz is when she's still very naive and that she still very much believes in love, right? So it's waltz. And the last number, this is actually a finale of the ballet called Tarantella. So the idea is Tarantella is Italian dance, supposed to be very fast. But the idea here that she's dancing so fast, she has no time. She's leaving so fast, she has no time to look around and take care of her family. So we'll do Waltz and Tarantella by Valery Gavrilin.